know, and after that happened, like after she stormed off pissed and all that shit, there was a sense of peace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was a weird moment for me.
I bet.
Because it was almost like I was having a conversation with myself that was like, you know that this is a year end, and then me being like actual me, and it's almost like me and him are like having a conversation. You know that Spider-Man meme? They're like this.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. But we're all acknowledging each other. We're like, oh, okay, this is cool. I like this. You know, like this feels good. You know, peaceful. That's
eventually you have to face it. You either face it right there and then, or you ride the wave until it's almost like there's a hole on the boat, and you're just like, I'll be alright. And as you're going and swimming and sailing across the oceans and rainbows and unicorns, you find out that your boat's sinking. Like, fuck, I gotta get off this shit.
Yeah.
You know, so my things on relationships, my thoughts is that a relationship is not something you should seek. It's something that seeks you and you fall into. One day you just decide, you know what? And it's almost like a mutual, and you guys already feel, it's like a language, like, listen, I think I want you to stay. Like, I want you, but, and not in a greedy way, like, I don't need you, but I want you.
Yeah.
I want you. I want you here. I want you here. It means
and it's both sides.
And it's both sides. It's mutual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine, you know how sexy that is for someone to be so independent and comfortable in their own skin that they don't need validation from someone else, and they come together.
Yeah.
That's a power couple.
I've been thinking a lot about so this year was a really big struggle for me, because I think the biggest thing that happened was letting go of my getting married dream. You know, letting that go was really hard, because there'd be moments of my life where my heart will tear, because the idea of like, bro, this is just not gonna happen anytime soon was fucking hard for me. It was so fucking hard.
Why do you want to get married?
When I moved out to Minnesota, when I was with my ex-fiance, I don't know. I just knew, like, you know, damn, I love this girl. I love her family. Like, her family, her mom and dad, adopted seven kids, and then they had 2 of their own, or I think it was like 6 kids or something like that. I can't remember. And just living in their world, living and seeing the way her parents would work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, dog, that's the life for me, man. That just feels so right, you know?
Do you feel that, so give me some details. So I know marriage, because marriage is a very, very big word, especially for our generation.
I think...
What are the details? Like, what about marriage really gets your gears going?
I think as a Mexican, I'm not sure what it's like as a Puerto Rican or as a Dominican. As a Mexican, in my culture, my mom, like, it's weird, right? Because I grew up, and my dad would make out with my mom, or my dad would slap her ass, and that was a normal thing for me. I would literally see this shit,
right? And
I was just like, they love each other. You know, that's how I felt. Like, it was a beautiful thing for me. And then, like, I'd have my friends come over, and they'd still be kind of like they'd be cuddly, you know?
Right.
And then people would be like, whoa. And I'd be like, what do you mean, whoa?
Right.
And then that realization of, like, oh my fuck, this is not normal.
Right.
What my parents do, like, this isn't, like, people aren't like that. And it's just, like, I think it's because I grew up, like, in Mexican culture, like, amor is so important. Like, think of, like, telenovelas. They're so big in Mexican culture. So big. And when every day I grew up, there's always telenovelas going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just my culture.
To that.
You know, exactly. So, like...
El último capítulo, Univision.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so when you
Always.
grow up, like, living in culture of, like, oh, like, love and destiny, and, like, there's a story, like, this big story, and it all ties together in some weird way, you know, I think growing up like that really shaped my mind of like, oh no, this whole destiny thing, or this whole love and marriage and like all this shit, like this is who I am, because that's just that's just how I grew up. And like seeing my mom replicate that with her actions with my dad, and then seeing the other people around me looking in and thinking, whoa, that's fucking weird, because they didn't grow up watching telenovelas like I did. And their parents aren't as PDA like my parents were, or not saying that they didn't love each other as much, like I don't fucking know, but it's different. It's I think that's the underlying bit of it. But when I moved to Minnesota, I think because my girlfriend at the time was so tied to my dreams, and we were both doing it, and we were both working so fucking hard. It felt like a telenovela. It felt like it was destiny. We're both supposed to make it to the top together. I moved out to Florida, or not Florida, I moved out to Minnesota. I met this girl over Twitter. It was so fucking random. It was so fucking random. And the story is crazy. I tell this story all the time, and it's my favorite fucking story to tell. Because it's so fucking crazy. It feels like a telenovela. You know what I'm saying? And I think because I lived the things that I experienced at home with my parents, and then going out and just like living this crazy life of like moving to another state, trying to reach your dreams with the girl who you love, who is trying to do the same thing together, in hopes that we're both gonna make it, and then we're both gonna have a family together, and then we're gonna both run shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why ever since like my and her breakup, I knew that. I don't know. It was for me.
It's interesting how your environment can really, they talk about nature versus nurture. Just how your environment can play a role in your decision making, even in your love life. I feel that, a lot of people have this void inside of them, and they want to fill this void with the love of their life. I think that's pretty common. We see the movies. Even Disney cartoons,
and plastered all over.
Oh, for sure. And I'm not talking down on it, because I too was in a relationship for 4 years, and it went sour.
Yeah.
Sour, and it hurt. It sucked. It makes you question yourself. It makes you question, just you as a, not even as a man, just as a human being. You're just like, because you invest so much into something, and it's almost like as kids, you put a quarter in the candy machine, you expect candy to come out, right? So imagine you put in your last quarters and then nothing comes out.
Exactly.
Basically, the outcome that you expected doesn't show up.
Yeah.
But when you get older, you realize that something did come out of that. You know what I mean? Maybe if you would have had a little more candy, you would have got diabetes. Maybe something, it played a role in your life, but you just don't realize it right there and then.
Yeah.
Because once again, we're already taught instant gratification. Put the quarter in, get the shit out.
Yeah.
But reflecting back and looking at how I am now as a person, I would make the same mistakes again, just a lot sooner. If I would have saw,
and that is why I feel I'm actually so fucking lucky.
Yeah, listen, dude. I know you mentioned that, you're 25 and you're going through your trials and tribulations. I'm 27, and it's almost like I'll speak for myself, and you can agree with me if you'd like. We kind of give ourselves these goals throughout. We kind of plant these goals ahead of time, where when I'm 25, I'm going to be here. By the time I'm 30, I'm already married. I have my kids. So we have these expectations, which is normal as human beings, And then when you're there and you don't have what you wanted, when you don't have what you expected, that shit can cloud up your headspace, cloud up mine. I'm like, fuck, I made plans with another person. We were together 4 years.
I think about that a lot. So it's weird because when I think about my ex-fiance, because we were pretty close to setting a date, and I think about that, and I'm like, how long would we be married now?
Right.
And that's just what the fuck? And we've been married for years now.
Right.
That is insane to me. Like, that blows my mind. And so, yeah, that's so fucking true. And then I'm like, I would have been married for years now. Especially, like, living the kind of life that I, like, this is what I love. Like, being married is something that this is my dream, you know? Mm-hmm. And yeah, that really does fuck with your head.
Yeah, man. That shit is, it took me, man, just like thinking about it. It's one of my favorite stories to share now because I see how big of an impact it's had on me and the way I carry myself, the things that I've learned. I'm like, holy fuck, that shit was powerful. That was definitely one of my lessons I had to learn in this lifetime. Now, when it comes to relationships, I just don't have any expectations. I live so much in the present that I don't have time to. I'm like, it's almost this nothing else matters but this time that we're sharing. And if I see you tomorrow, I do. If I don't, I don't. That's it. Because if you begin to kind of build these expectations, whether that be a week ahead of time, 2 weeks, a month, by the date you set it to the date it actually happens, there's a slight underlying layer of anxiety that's taking place because you got to make sure that it falls into that place. You know, you got to make sure all this happens. Yeah. And once again, this is like a stress that's on a subconscious level where you're doing this and she's on your mind and all the time. And I say just be vulnerable, completely open, and subtract the expectation and just express yourself to your highest potential. Like, just kind of just be so present where tomorrow doesn't matter. Like, tomorrow's the end of the world. You got notified. You got an email. Hey, by the way, Stevie, you're gonna die tomorrow. Everyone is. Like, all right, cool, thanks. So I got 24 hours. What am I gonna do? Marriage. There's no time. Or it's like, what about marriage do you like? You like the fact that you're sharing space with someone, that you have someone who's there for you. You're there for them. So it's not really marriage. It's the lifestyle that comes with. It's the lifestyle that comes with the marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get that lifestyle with marriage. It's almost guaranteed. When you're married, you're together. Like, okay, this is official. It's a label. This is it. I think what's beautiful is that you're able to live through those experiences and those feelings prior to even putting yourself in that position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, okay, what do I like about a marriage? I like the partnership. So let me seek a partnership. Let me seek what is about a partnership that I like. I like that I'm able to communicate with another person and we can share ideas and we can cuddle and we can talk and she'll kiss me on my forehead and tell me she loves me and I have a good day. When I come home at night, she's here. Food's probably ready. Beautiful. I mean, thinking about it, I'm like, yo, this shit, let me start swiping on Tinder. Like, hey, yo, ma, what's up? Like, what's up? You trying to get married tomorrow? Yeah. What's up? But no, yeah, man, I just kind of learned to subtract labels and just kind of pull out the experiences that come with the labels, and I get to live that. And eventually the labels come up, you know, be like, oh. And I think that's what the generation is doing now, going back to the commitment, is that they're doing what boyfriends and girlfriends usually do, except the label boyfriend and girlfriend is no longer implied. And I think it's also because boyfriend and girlfriend have been given certain definitions which come with certain expectations, and if those expectations are not, it's almost like
we don't. What else I think it is? You know, the like, what is it called? Poly what?
Polyamorous.
And I think because there is a stigma to that, that's why people stick. Oh, we're talking. Because saying, oh, I'm dating multiple people is fucking weird.
Right.
It's not. It's taboo as shit. You know. But also, commitment is fucking scary. So why do that? So we're talking.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how labels can also kind of, and labels too, bro. That's part of our conversation. Like, I need to call it a computer so you know it's a computer. Yeah. You know what I mean? I need to call her. I need to tell a girl that she's my friend or she's my sister, so she doesn't get the wrong idea. Like, there's certain words and labels that do need to come up, but then there's some where, and once again, this generation is like, once again, it's like they're calling us the rebels. It's like a rebellion. Like, we're rebelling against school, corporate jobs, and we're just doing whatever we want. We're expressing ourselves. You know, gay marriage, people. There's so many LGBTQRS second power. It's like everyone's doing whatever the fuck they want, being whoever they fucking want to. So there's no time for really any kind of labels right now. And yeah, So I think it's almost kind of, you can't, it's like if you say boyfriend, it's almost like there's so much noise outside where it won't even compute. It won't even kind of go through. Like, it's just, yeah. I don't know. I would like to be with, actually long term, I think maybe be with one person. I think that when I am with several partners, I learn so much about myself through them.
Yeah.
That there's always growth that takes place. It's not just, let's chill, let's have sex, good sex, bye. There's always a conversation that takes place prior and after.
See, not many people do that.
Yeah, because I am an
emotional.
People are
scared of that.
Huh?
People are scared of that. That conversation before and after. People don't want that. People are so fucking scared.
And I think that's what differentiates me from others, because if I tell people, yeah, man, Brian, are you single, or if I decided to dive into the polyamory community, instantly there's gonna be certain labels that are gonna be applied to me, like, yo, okay. Terms like he's a fuckboy. I've been called a fuckboy.
Yeah.
He's a player. He's So because I like several people at the same time at different intensities, that makes me this. In your world, so be it. But in mine, no. Because sex is a physical exchange. It feels great. It feels nice. But I'm such a deep person, and being an empath, I feel a lot. I'm so sensitive that even for that to just kind of happen, there needs to be some sort of connectivity between us.
Did you grow up Catholic or Christian or anything? Really?
Actually, yeah, I would say a little of both.
Okay. Because I wonder, because I grew up that way, and the idea of dating multiple people at the same time is just not. That's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the idea, right?
Yeah.
When, like, this year, I mean, we've talked about it, but like I like letting go of the idea of getting married. That also felt like getting rid of the idea of being in a relationship, whatever that means. We're talking, or we're dating,
right?
And the idea of, like, I don't know, talking to a girl, but like what you're doing, that's so
foreign. Yeah.
So fucking foreign to me. So foreign.
It's not for everyone. It takes to keep it simple, is not for everyone. I didn't think it was for me at first. And I feel like eventually I will fall into just a relationship where it's almost like I'm learning what it is that I want in a partner in the first place. And I don't really know what all that is. And the only way I can find that out is through experiences.
Yeah.
A lot of the people I've been with aren't always physical. You know what I mean? There's people who I've met for just a day where we've just laid in bed, or we've just had a cup of coffee. And I still put that in the same, like, it's just because we have sex doesn't mean that, once again, you're not my girlfriend. You're not my wife right off back. We're friends. We connected, and we may have connected at an intensity where it led to something physical.
Yeah.
Or it may have led to just a cup of coffee and maybe a handshake. But through that interaction, I learned something about myself. I learned what it is that I like about you, which is something that I like about women. I'm like, okay. Like,
if I like her for this reason,
I like it for this
reason that I probably want to look for in other people.
Exactly. It's almost like I'm gathering just
intel or information.
Yeah. And then at the same time, when you hear yourself speak and you just hear the questions they ask, and you begin to, it's crazy. It's like you allow yourself to be played. It's almost like we're both instruments, and here I am, and you're playing my sounds. And it's hard for me to play my own, but here you are asking me questions, telling me things.
Yeah.
And this is my song. I'm like, whoa, I like that. I like how it felt.
It's also like, where it is foreign to me, listening to you talk, you're making a lot of sense here. And maybe, I don't know, it's an idea, and it's already in my head, and I already accepted that this is my main, this is my fucking number one. I don't give a fuck who else is around.
Yeah.
This is my
what
number
is?
My dreams.
Your dreams.
My dreams.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just and you don't always have to agree, but just being receptive, I think, is something powerful. Just being able to listen and then sit with it, and then get whatever you get out of it, throw it out, or just pull some things out of it, change it around. It's like I don't speak. I speak my truth, but whatever I speak, it's almost like I'm eating out of this big platter and I'm sharing with you. You don't have to eat everything on topic, there.
By the way, what is aminoris? This is a great fucking topic, man.
Yeah.
Because nobody talks I never talked about this shit in my life. Not to a point where you're making sense, right? Because you're talking about this shit, and I'm thinking about my life and how my priorities. I this is my number one. There's no doubt about it. And the way that you're talking about it, it's like you can be in a relationship.
Yeah.
This is still number one, and that is, you know what?
Isn't it refreshing?
Yeah.
It kind of removes this.
Remember how I told you this year, accepting that I'm just not gonna get married, so that means I'm not gonna get in a relationship. I'm gonna be single. That was my year this year. Listening to you talk, it's
you hopped. You see what you just did? That sentence, you hopped from label to label to label. I'm not gonna be married, which means I'm not gonna seek a relationship. Therefore, I'm gonna be single. But what you're doing now is that you're looking at the details in between each one, and you're realizing that if you give these caddies labels a thermometer, where you're able to look at the intensity, it's wait a second, I'm single, but I'm still sharing space with other individuals. I'm hanging out, having sex, talking. I'm not in a relationship, but I'm doing what I would do in a relationship. It's you're giving yourself permission. You're giving yourself this space to be able to do these things. Yeah.
How many, right now, how many people are you seeing?
How many people am I seeing?
Yeah, what's the number? Oh my God!
It's not. No.
Is it double digits?
No, it's not. I'm not polyamorous.
Okay.
I've dabbled. I've thought of it. I'm still thinking of it. I just want to make sure that I'm responsible.
Well, let's say
I am.
Let's say you're using this. How many people are you using this thermostat with?
Okay, there we go. Right now at this time,
1, 2, 3. Actually,
no.
7, 12.
I would say,
13,
if you were to ask me, I'm trying. So it's it's almost like it has to be. If you were to ask me, which ones are reoccurring, who are you seeing constantly? Right now, I would say just maybe 2.
Oh.
That's it. Now, once again, there are other people who I've shared space with, even during my trips, where, in your world, I've talked to them, we had sex, great sex, we talked, and we carried on. I might not see them again, or I might. We connect on Instagram, we like each other's stuff, and we talk, how's your day, I'm going well, how are you? But now there is someone who I am talking to now who is aware that I'm talking to other women.
So I keep fucking cutting you off.
No, it's all good. No, ask away.
Happening. Okay. So when you're going through these experiences with these people, do they already see eye to eye with this perspective, or do you introduce the perspective and then bring them on board?
So it's always mutual. You know what I mean?
It's
not me off the back. It's never me manipulating. They're aware that I am here for a certain amount of time, that I'm leaving, and that they might not see me again. They're aware of that just based on the scenario, based on how it's all kind of happening. Hey, I'm in town for this weekend. Would you like to go grab a drink? Or I would like for you to join me for a drink this Saturday night. I'm leaving. They already know that I'm going to be gone. They know that I'm not. So there's not an expectation. So right. a lot of the women who I spend time with, we subtract the expectation. It's out of there, which means no disappointments, because if something happens, it does. We're both open to it. If you're feeling how you're feeling, I'm feeling how I'm feeling. Then eventually we're building. We'll go up.
How many people have you found have this same perspective that mutually agree? Is it more people than
quite a few
than people think?
Nowadays, yeah. It's there are people who we meet at a certain level of communication, of not having any expectations, and that we want to feel. We want to feel. We understand that. Man, I'm trying to find ways to really word it together. It's just I would say there are many. Yeah, there are many, and it takes once again communication and being honest from the back.
Do you think you've become desensitized because you have had these experiences with multiple people, that it's easier for you to like, okay, this feeling of love, I feel it, but now it's time to put it away and focus on my work? Or is it something that sometimes it's a battle? Or how is it? Or is it because you've had these so many times that, you know what, it's a little bit easier to put it in the back? Or what is it? Gotcha.
I'm gonna bring up this famous thermostat once again. I love this fucking thermostat. We gotta put that bitch on the wall. Yeah, we do. I think that I've given my heart a thermostat. I've given my heart permission to feel things at different intensities. To not completely shut down the idea of a potential relationship. To be open to it. Not mean that we're not seeking it. So me and my heart, we're not really seeking anything permanent. What we're seeking now are experiences and feelings, and we're learning. I'm on a journey where I'm learning more about myself, honestly about me. This journey is about me, and through these experiences, I learn more about me.
Would you say you're selfish?
Like, yeah. Absolutely. Yes, to a degree, I would say I am selfish in the sense that I care so much about my feelings and my vulnerability that I put that first, because at the end of the day, I sleep with me. When I'm in that room, I need to put myself to sleep. I am my own. They say we all have an inner child. I have an inner child, and the inner child is what makes these decisions. It's that kid in us that never grows up. It's like when we see Dragon Ball Z, we get excited still.
Yeah.
When we're in the right environment, we get playful. That's us. That's who we've always been. You know what I mean?
I really hate we're not recording this. I really hate that we're not recording this shit, dog.
Don't worry, I got a surprise. But it's that inner child. So I'm carrying this kid everywhere I go. So I am very aware of.
You don't think people want to listen to this as a podcast? What the fuck? God, you're on some shit.
No, man.
I can talk about this shit all day. It's just like a fucking whole new world, dog.
No, you ask incredible questions. Like, I love answering your questions.
I love podcasting, and when you do podcasting, you have to lead conversations a lot, and that usually involves asking a lot of great questions.
Yeah.
So I think one of the reasons why I love conversation. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing in this world is having a great ass conversation, having it end, and reflecting and thinking, holy shit, that conversation, not only did it make me feel some way, but it's leaving me with something.
Right.
And that's something that it leaves you with is something that's gonna it's gonna come back to your head whenever you're in a situation. You're gonna reflect back and be like, oh yeah, we talked about that, and now I can use that.
Good.
I love conversations.
Yeah. And
that's why podcasting is so fucking good.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, man. That's kind of you had asked me about if I'm selfish and once again, selfish is like, you know, it's almost like it's a stigma, but there's never gonna be a stigma in our conversations. It's almost like we're bringing up these words, seeing how it is that we feel, and we're dissecting it. I love that.
Which is something that's a good thing. That's a good topic idea. Like love. Let's break that down. It's got a weird stigma about it, but let's fucking go in. Or polyamory, whatever. Fuck. Let's talk about it because it's a fucking weird word. It sounds fucking weird, and it's the idea behind it. But let's really dissect what it really means, because that's exactly what we did just now.
Yeah.
And that led to such a great. I thought it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
But that is, people care about it's almost like when you say the word hate. Like when we were in that room, right? We said hate, and it was like, oh shit, like the fucking thing is like
right.
But when you're like, you know what, let's talk about hate. It's not like that.
Right.
Let's really dissect it.
Absolutely.
It's a good idea, man.
Yeah, man. It's almost it's insane how our bodies and our minds just react to words.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, that was like fucking.
That was yeah.
You were God, I went to the room.
And for those who are listening and aren't sure what's happening, really? Yeah. So.
Oh, you slimy
scumbag.
What's I do that
scumbag is a label, so we're gonna definitely. So
that's so funny.
So for those listening,
question: when did you hit record? Right off the bat?
A little while ago. Stevie's referring to our meditation room. I read a book a while ago called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And Dr. Bradley Nelson talked about the, I forget, it was the sway effect or the sway method. And basically showed you the power of words and how your body reacts to them. So the idea is, you know, you're standing up, you'll say words like hate.
How would you describe this thing?
Well, it doesn't have to do with the symbol.
Oh, really?
So the symbol on the wall is the flower of life. It's, you know, a lot of yogis and the New Agers are all about it. It's a very powerful symbol. But the emotion code didn't have to do much with that. This can happen anywhere.
So if I'm standing up in the middle of this living room
right
here,
if videos were recorded, if you heard the word hate, it would weaken you. You would basically, especially if it's directing towards you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Stevie, I hate you. Your body will immediately go back. It's almost like it's a way of retracting and moving away from that energy that's being projected out of that word. Now, if I say, Stevie, I love you, not only will your body not go back, it will go forward. Yeah. You will be attracted to the energy that's coming out of that. And what's cool about that is that there's science behind it. You know, this isn't
I encourage everybody to fucking do this shit, because the first time I did it was when I moved in here.
You know what? We're going to
blew my mind.
We're gonna, when we start the videos and set everything up, we're gonna do the sway method.
Do you think we can portray that through video?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because it's just the words. It's the audio that triggers that.
Of course, we can do that. We can do that video and the words, and we can show them. So.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, we'll do that, and yeah, so the sway method is what it's called, and it just shows you the power of words, whether they go forward, go back. So. Slimy. Yeah.
It's funny because I do that to other people, and I always think it's clever when I show them back, because it's a good conversation. Right. To have it done to me, that fucking feels so weird, man. That feels so.
It's almost like you're betrayed, but it's like for good betrayal.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny.
That's so good. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, man. Right now, what I'm trying to do is hold on. So for those listening, we're actually going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. Right now, we Stevie and I are really getting ready to launch the podcast. We're going to get ready to launch YouTube very soon, podcast, and
we have a couple other shows that we recorded.
We do. We can put some stuff together.
Yeah.
But we would like to add some visualizations to what it is that we're saying, just because we're so expressive, and honestly, visuals are fucking awesome. So we're kind of working on those things now. But for those listening, you know, if you're listening to this right now, that means you've listened to about 34 minutes of conversation between Stevie and I, and
I'm still dumbfounded.
He said, "Oh yeah, Stevie's gonna Stevie's shocked. He had no idea. He had no idea I had press record because I'm a sneaky motherfricker."
You're so nonchalant about that shit too. You hid it behind my laptop.
Had to. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, and
thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. Bye bye.